We have something very strange happening inside Donald Trump's Secret Service. Three officials, including the agency's top spokesperson, have been marched out of their offices. Their security clearances were suspended, and their devices have been seized by the government. And here is where this gets very interesting. We don't even know yet what they're accused of doing. It seems they're accused of doing something pretty serious, but we don't know what. And this is happening while the Trump administration is trying to figure out, very aggressively, I might add, who leaked the fact that this is going on. This, in a sense, is it's certainly one of the most bizarre, but it's one of the most apparently sensitive stories of Trump's presidency as well. The story of Trump secretly escaping Turkey in a catering cart. I'll explain what we know. The Daily Mail reports that Secret Service comms director Anthony Guglielmi and two other officials in the department were physically removed from their offices on Monday. Now, according to CNN, all three were placed on leave. They had their security clearances suspended. They had their work devices taken. So we already can see that this is apparently serious enough that it's involving the FBI and the CIA because of the sensitive nature of Secret Service. Now, an important caveat here is that the Secret Service has not made any statements so far as to what is even alleged as far as the misconduct. And we don't know that these three officials are accused of leaking anything. The timing is what's interesting. You've got FBI Director Kash Patel hunting for the source of a leak about what happened that day when Trump went to the NATO summit in Turkey and then was moved off of the normal presidential plane into this other plane, even though Marco Rubio was left on the main plane and Trump was in a catering truck with Natalie Harp. That entire thing, it sounded like it was out of a movie. And all of it was because Trump was supposedly facing an Iranian assassination threat. And so they made the decision, instead of leaving Turkey normally aboard Air Force One, we're going to clandestinely swap planes. Fine. Now, the operation was supposed to be secret. Somebody told the press about it, and Kash Patel is furious, and he wants to know who. So the Washington Post's new reporting about the secret departure triggered a separate investigation by Patel, and FBI agents reportedly went to Secret Service and said, hey, what do you know about this? Is it possible that someone from Secret Service was the leaker? Now, we don't yet have proof that these two elements are connected, but we now have three people from the Secret Service communications operation kicked out of their offices, devices taken, and security clearances stripped while the FBI was already looking for a Secret Service leak. Now, maybe the two things are ultimately not connected, or maybe they are. We don't know yet, but there is clearly a big story unfolding inside this agency. And this is an agency where sometimes it does happen that the Secret Service is pulled into controversy and drama. But the idea, at least, is that Secret Service is there to protect people. They are above the political fray. They are above the gossip. They are above the drama of investigations. But now it's hitting them. Now, there's another piece of context that I think is important here. This guy, Guglielmi, the comms director, he is not a water boy, an intern, or some new employee. He's been running Secret Service communications since the Biden administration and was there through all of the fallout of the Butler assassination attempt against Donald Trump. And last month, Guglielmi said an agent protecting J.D. Vance is being criminally investigated over a suspected media leak because agents complained to journalists about last-minute travel requests from J.D. Vance and his family and how annoying that is. So there's clearly this massive sensitivity inside Secret Service about info getting out, and that creates two questions. The first is completely legitimate. If Secret Service personnel are leaking genuinely sensitive info, which could compromise the security of a president, that's a big problem. Now, I don't care whether the president is Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or anybody else. Objectively speaking, protective information can't be handed around because reporters ask questions about it, and that can put people's lives at risk. So that would be number one as far as Secret Service goes. But the second question is there something broader developing here? A Trump administration obsessed with finding and punishing people inside the government who are revealing information that is embarrassing to them? Because notice what we still don't know. We don't know what the 3 Secret Service officials that were walked out allegedly did. We don't know why the CIA is reportedly involved. We don't know whether their removal is connected to Trump's bizarre, catering cart escape. What we know is that the Secret Service officials, along with a top communications official, have been sidelined. They no longer have clearances. Their devices have been taken. That's very serious. And concurrent to that, Kash Patel at the FBI is looking to figure out who said stuff to journalists about the catering truck caper. There has to be more to the story. The question now is, what exactly is the Trump administration trying to find? And are they even looking in the right places? But the theme is that there is no institution under Trump, no government agency under Trump that is immune from chaos when Trump is there. Is it because of Trump? Well, that's a question we have to figure out. We're going to try to get an answer to it. But the chaos simply follows Trump absolutely everywhere. And it is even hitting the agency tasked with protecting not only Trump. And remember, you can say, well, I personally don't care what happens to Trump. Maybe that's your view. Fine. But Secret Service in chaos means that all of their protectees, which include former officials, family of former officials, it includes Joe Biden, whoever, the entire agency is thrown into chaos, and that imperils the security of all of those people. So this is not an agency that you want to see in such a chaotic state, but under Trump, chaos is everywhere. It's following them, and it is even here. So what do you think is going on? What do you think is actually at the root of this very strange situation? 3 Secret Service people kicked out. Leave me a comment, send me an email, info@davidpakman.com. Sometimes the most important part of a political story is not what gets reported, but what gets placed in the center of the frame. And that is why our sponsor, Ground News, is so valuable. Take a look at Trump's Medicaid work requirement rule. The underlying story is that a lot of adults on Medicaid will have to do 80 hours a month of work, school, or volunteering to keep their coverage. When our sponsor, Ground News, lines up the sources, the framing really changes. On the left, the focus is human consequences. What happens if you're sick and you lose coverage? On the right, it's how much will it cost to implement these requirements? What about states saying that's going to be really expensive? And what's revealing is only around 10% of the coverage is coming from right-leaning sources. They're mostly ignoring the story. Ground News will flag gaps like this through its blind spot feed, so you can see when a major story is getting very little attention from one side of the media landscape. Go to ground.news/Pakman for 40% off the same Vantage plan I use. The link is in the description.